If you can all take a seat, we can then begin. That's not gonna work. Hello and welcome to Whack-A-Mole Industries. In today's video, we'll be putting a seat on this seat. So this seat was falling apart. I've re-glued the joints and everything. This actually came from the trash. My wife painted it, looks great. Now I just need to create a new seat. And I'm gonna reupholster this, but I'm actually gonna cut a new wood base because it's all very flimsy. Technically both seats can probably use it because I actually have two of these chairs. So I'm gonna make a new seat, pad it, and make a cushion. First, I gotta pick out some scrap wood. I have one piece that will work for one of the chairs, but I gotta find another piece. So I'm hoping this is not too loud in this corner, as this is the utility section of my basement. So I'm talking really loud, so hopefully the mic will pick me up. This is actually a lot of my reclaimed lumber, besides this as well. I've mostly somehow fitted it into this corner. I think my wife helped me organize and optimize this space as much as possible, so thanks to her, shout out to her for that. Anyways, I just gotta access, ooh, you're taping up. I just gotta access the wood. So when I picked out that last piece of plywood, I know this one is too small. I gotta choose another one. I think this one that I partially pulled out will work. So this was actually some decking underneath some carpet. So that's where I got this from. Now I'm gonna cheat. Instead of measuring this all out and hoping my measurements are correct, I'm just gonna trace this and hope that all works. Now where's my pencil? I'm always losing my carpenter pencils. I don't know why. It's like magic, they disappear. I think little creatures come and steal them and run away with them. This time it turns out it was me that ran off with them. I'm actually going to cheat and use a bandsaw. Probably not the first thing you were going to guess I was going to use to cut out the seat base. But I already have it set up. I don't need to get a circular saw out, and I prefer the least work possible. So that's what I'm going to do. Backwards. It always works when it always works better if you put it aiming in the right direction and not backwards. Amazing how that works. That's a good fit. So the next thing we'll be putting foam on it and then cutting the fabric for it and doing some form of upholstery work. Let's hope this all turns out right. But before I do any of that, I gotta clean up some of this edge that has frayed wood chips because there's nothing like sitting down on a seat and getting a sliver through the cushion. I can only imagine how that would go.
Ouch!
So there's two sides to OSB. There's a rougher side and a smoother side. For this application, using it for what it's meant for, making a seat, I'm putting it down to the bottom, the smooth side. So if any hands find their way down to the underside of the chair, they're not getting slivers, because it doesn't ever feel good. Whereas up here, where the cushion's going, nobody should get slivers as long as you're taking care of the worst ones with sandpaper beforehand. It's not time to close the curtain on this project yet. We actually need to upholster or add fabric, or however you want to say it, to the cushion and seat of the chair. And the fabric we're using is actually a curtain. To avoid the annoying thing of running out of material and cutting your piece too small, I'm actually going to measure first. Imagine that. So how much material do I need? Well, that's a good question. I need enough to cover the entire base, that piece of plywood in the center, and enough to wrap around the foam and the board with about an inch or more to overlap on the bottom of the board to be stapled and fastened into place. So this board you see me using right here, this 1x material, happens to be wide enough to cover up all that distance. So all I need to do is just lay it on the side of the piece of plywood and then mark it, and that will end up being enough material so that I won't end up having too little bit to finish up the project.
That's never fun if you run out of material. Trust me, I've never done that before. Okay, enough jibber jabber. I need to cut straight to the point. Get what I did there? Okay, anyways. So the next step after cutting the fabric will be, well, trying to fold all the fabric into place.
I use this board as a template to go around and make sure everything's spaced. So now I can do that now as I am assembling this cushion. Okay, here's how I'm getting these nice and neat corners. I haven't researched to know how everyone else does it, but this is what I found works well. You don't want to take the material onto the outside because you get weird lines kind of like this. Instead, you pull the material into it. So I can control the shape of this corner by where I push this material. If I take this corner, push it down here, it pops the corner out there. But if I take it and pull it this way, it pulls the corner down that way and this way at the same time. So balancing that and then pull the material up like this. Now if you notice this is at an angle versus straight, well, you can adjust that by just taking the material here, hold it with your hand, your pointer finger right here, take your thumb, pull the material up just like that, and then you have a corner. So it can use a little bit neatening up. So I'm going to try to do this where I'm angling this at the camera so you can see what I'm doing. But look at that. Now it's not stapled yet, I got to pull it tight. But we have a nice neat corner there. I found now that I have the corner folded, just kind of like pet the fabric. I know it's kind of weird, but just kind of work out the wrinkles and stuff before putting your staples in. Just try to make sure your surfaces are as good as possible. So just kind of petting the material, even though it feels really weird, just to get all the wrinkles out and try to make the finished job look as smooth as possible. So I'm just going to start by putting a few staples in. That way, if I made a mistake, I can correct it easier. Because, again, I'm not a pro at this, I'm just sharing what I am learning as I'm going. Okay, this seat cushion is already installed, and now we're finally ready to go and take a seat. Thank you for sitting down and watching this project with me as I was making it, and you were probably sitting, maybe you were standing, I don't know. Those are the only two other options I think, sitting, standing, maybe laying down too, that's also another option. Thank you for joining me in this project, whether it was to get an idea for one of your own projects or just to have fun watching somebody mess around with fixing something. Anyways, just leave a comment down below. Would love to hear from you guys. Say hi and thumbs up and subscribe so you can keep up to date with other videos as they come out. You can also check out any of these other videos that will be showing up probably somewhere in this area. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in future videos.